The planet Virelia hung quietly in the dark stretch of space, its twin suns casting pale golden light over vast deserts and jagged mountains. To any casual observer, it was an empty world. But beneath the dunes, in hidden valleys and carved rock shelters, human colonists had built a small settlement. They called it Haven, and for years its people had lived in careful peace, unaware that eyes from far beyond the stars were already upon them. Captain Mara Solon stood on the highest ridge near Haven, her gaze scanning the horizon. Her dark hair was tied back, and her uniform bore the marks of long days spent preparing for something she hoped would never come. She did not allow fear to show. Mara had learned long ago that fear spread faster than fire. She knew that hope, courage, and cleverness could save lives, even in the face of overwhelming odds. Another day, and still no sign, Lieutenant Jaren said beside her. His voice was low, tinged with worry. He had been with Mara since the early days of the colony. Do you really think they will come? Mara did not answer immediately. She did not need to. The colony had been sending signals into space for months, small bursts of data encoded in frequencies almost impossible to detect. They were calling for help, hoping the distant people of Earth or anyone who cared might hear. But until that help arrived, the colonists were alone. They might, she said finally, her eyes narrowing on the empty sky. And if they do, we will be ready. We always are. The settlement below her ridge was alive with activity. Engineers and miners reinforced the walls with metal and stone. Farmers moved supplies to hidden bunkers, while medics checked on children and the elderly. Despite the looming threat, life went on because life was precious, and the humans of Haven knew the value of every heartbeat. But Mara's mind was never still. She thought about the ships she had seen only in simulations and reports. Sleek black vessels from the Zirath Empire, a race whose technology had allowed them to conquer entire systems without mercy. The Zirath were cold, calculating, and they never underestimated themselves. To them, a small human colony on a backwater planet was nothing more than a weak target. That made the humans dangerous in their eyes only when they resisted, something Mara and her people intended to do. Back in the settlement, the colony council gathered in the command center. Holoscreens glowed with star maps and small drones hovered silently, transmitting the latest readings from orbit and nearby space. Mara entered and all eyes turned to her. Report, she said firmly. Lieutenant Jaren tapped on a console. Sensors show movement near the edge of the system. We don't know the size or type of ships, but energy readings are consistent with Zirath reconnaissance vessels. A murmur ran through the room. The colonists were used to fear, but not panic. Mara held up her hand. Stay calm. This is exactly what we have prepared for. Remember, our strength is not just in our weapons, it is in our minds, our teamwork, and our courage. Counselor Ellen, a seasoned strategist, spoke next. Captain, if the Zirath decide to attack, our defenses can hold for a limited time. But we need more than just walls and barricades. They will test our ingenuity, our ability to adapt, and we must be ready to respond. Mara nodded. Then we adapt. We survive. We fight smart, not just hard. The Zirath may have ships and weapons, but they underestimate what humans can do when they have nothing left to lose. Outside the command center, the suns were setting, casting long shadows across the settlement. Mara walked through the streets of Haven, observing the preparations. Children helped by carrying small tools. Adults carried heavy supplies. Engineers checked automated defenses for malfunctions. It was a scene of quiet determination, and Mara felt a swell of pride. These were ordinary humans far from Earth, yet their hearts were extraordinary. As night fell, the temperature dropped rapidly. Mara returned to her ridge, binoculars in hand, scanning the star-strewn sky. And then she saw it, a faint glint of metal reflecting the last rays of the sun. At first, she thought it was a meteor, but the movement was deliberate, almost intelligent. Jaren, she whispered into her communicator. Get everyone ready. They are coming sooner than we thought. Minutes later, the colony's early warning siren sounded, a low, resonant hum that echoed through the mountains. Lights flashed on walls and towers, illuminating shields, turrets, and hidden batteries of energy weapons. The people of Haven moved with practiced efficiency, each person knowing exactly what to do, even under pressure. From Mara's ridge, she could see the first Zirath ships breaking through the atmosphere. They were unlike anything the humans had faced before, sleek, dark, and deadly. Their energy signatures glowed ominously. and even at a distance, Mara could feel the sheer weight of their presence. The Zirath were confident, believing they would crush the small human settlement without resistance. But Mara's eyes burned with defiance. "Let them come," she said softly. "They have no idea who they are facing." The first wave of attack came suddenly. Laser beams streaked across the sky, striking the outer defenses. Explosions shook the ground, sending plumes of dust and smoke into the air. Turrets and human shields activated, firing back in a controlled but desperate response. The Zirath had underestimated the humans' ingenuity. Mara's team had placed decoy structures, traps, and false energy signatures designed to confuse the enemy. Already the aliens' first strikes were less effective than expected. In the chaos, Mara moved from position to position, coordinating responses and adjusting strategies in real time. Her mind raced, predicting the enemy's next moves. The colonists followed her lead, trusting her judgment and their own skills. It was a ballet of survival, a dance between fear and courage. Hours passed, though it felt like minutes. The Zirath tested every defensive line, but the humans adapted faster than expected. Mara watched as small teams flanked enemy drones, used terrain to their advantage, and even improvised new weapons from available materials. The aliens were strong, but they were rigid, predictable, and unprepared for the creativity of humans. Despite the fierce resistance, Mara knew the colony could not hold forever. The Zirath had numbers, technology, and experience on their side. Humanity's survival depended on something else, the faint hope that reinforcements might arrive. She activated the deep space communicator, sending an encrypted message toward Earth. "This is Captain Mara Solon of Haven Colony. We are under attack by the Zirath Empire. Our defenses can hold, but only if help comes soon. Please respond." The message raced through space, a small pulse of hope sent across light years. Mara did not know if it would be received in time, but she refused to dwell on doubt. Every second counted and every action mattered. By the time the second wave of the Zirath attack came, the humans had learned their enemies' patterns. They countered with clever traps, misdirection, and sudden strikes from hidden positions. One small team lured a group of alien drones into a canyon filled with explosives, destroying them in a brilliant flash. Another team used magnetic pulses to disable the engines of several smaller ships, sending them crashing harmlessly into the desert. The Zirath were furious. Their arrogance had been shattered. "How can such a weak species fight like this?" Mara imagined them thinking. But she did not pity them. She only saw opportunity for her people to survive, to prove that humans were not to be underestimated. Night deepened. The battle continued in waves, a clash of steel, energy, and willpower. The humans were exhausted, but their spirit remained unbroken. Mara stood on the ridge once more, watching the stars beyond the battlefield. Somewhere out there, perhaps in the distant orbit of Earth, someone might have received their message. And if they did? Mara allowed herself a small smile. They might think the humans are weak, insignificant, and alone, but they were wrong. Humanity had heart, courage, and a mind that refused to yield, and that, she knew, was a power no empire could fully measure. "Hold fast," she whispered to the colony below. "No matter what comes, we survive, we fight. And one day, they will learn that humans are not to be underestimated." The first day of battle ended as the Zirath ships retreated temporarily, regrouping in the distance. It was only a pause, but it gave the humans a moment to breathe, to repair, and to prepare for whatever came next. And somewhere, far across the stars, Earth's mightiest armada began to stir, responding to the faint pulse of hope from a tiny colony on a desert planet. The battle had begun, and Haven was ready to face the storm. The dawn over Varelia was pale, as if the twin suns themselves were hesitant to rise over a battlefield still smoldering from the night before. Dust from the previous clashes hung in the air, and the heat of the desert sun made every movement heavy. The colonists of Haven were already awake, moving with purpose. Each face showed determination, but also fatigue. They had survived the first wave, but Captain Mara Solon knew that survival required more than courage. It required strategy. "Damage report," Mara called, her voice calm but firm. She walked along the outer walls, inspecting scorched defenses and shattered barricades. Lieutenant Jaren handed her a tablet. "Outer turrets are partially damaged. Some energy grids are down. Casualties are minimal, but morale is low in some sectors. The Zirath ships will likely return soon, stronger and more prepared." Mara nodded. "Good. Minimal casualties are better than we expected. but we need to anticipate their next move. They are aggressive but predictable in their patterns. And humans? Humans are not predictable. Engineers and mechanics were already at work repairing turrets, patching energy shields, and reinforcing walls. The children, under the guidance of trained adults, moved supplies into hidden caches, while medics treated minor wounds and tended to the weary. Every human in Haven had a role, and each role mattered. As Mara moved to the command center, she could see smoke rising from the distant mountains where small skirmishes had taken place. The Xyrath, confident in their superiority, had sent small strike teams to probe the colony's defenses. They expected quick victories, not clever resistance. Inside the command center, the holoscreens displayed real-time movement of enemy drones and ships. Mara studied the projections carefully, noting the formations and tactics. "They think numbers and firepower will win the day," she muttered. "They don't understand that humans fight with their minds, not just their weapons." Counselor Ellen stepped forward. "Captain, if we lure their drones into the canyon passes, we can use the magnetic pulse traps we set last night. They won't see it coming." Mara's lips curved into a small smile. "Exactly. We fight smart. Let them strike where they expect easy victory, and then we turn their strength into weakness. Prepare the teams. Timing will be everything." Outside, the first signs of the Xyrath's second wave appeared. Tiny blips of light streaked across the horizon as reconnaissance drones advanced ahead of larger vessels. The humans of Haven had anticipated this, positioning snipers and energy turrets to target the smaller ships. Explosions erupted, sending drones tumbling into the desert sands. The aliens were shocked by the accuracy and coordination of the humans. Meanwhile, Mara and her teams moved to implement their traps. In narrow canyon passes, miners had planted energy charges designed to detonate when large metal vessels passed. Engineers activated magnetic pulse emitters, hidden among the jagged rocks, to disable enemy engines. Every move was precise, every action calculated. The Xyrath attacked with confidence, but Mara's strategy worked. Drones were destroyed before they could reach the settlement, and strike teams sent into the canyon were met with sudden blasts of energy that disabled their formations. The aliens began to realize that the humans were not only surviving, they were countering with effectiveness they had not predicted. In the chaos, Mara received a report from one of her scouts. "Captain, sensors show that several of their ships are holding back, waiting to see how we respond." "They are cautious now." "Good," Mara replied. "That gives us a chance to finish the traps and regroup. We are small, but we are clever. That is our greatest weapon." The battle intensified as the Xyrath sent larger ships closer to the colony. The humans did not retreat. Instead, they used every advantage they had: the terrain, improvised weapons, and the ability to adapt to unexpected situations. Mara coordinated teams that flanked enemy positions, drew drones into ambushes, and launched targeted strikes at vulnerable points. From the ridge overlooking the battlefield, Mara saw one of the Xyrath ships crash into a canyon, caught in a magnetic pulse trap. Cheers erupted from the teams below, but Mara did not allow herself to celebrate. Every victory was temporary. Every moment could shift the balance. Hours passed like minutes. Mara moved continuously, never stopping, never losing focus. She communicated with every unit, ensuring coordination and efficiency. The humans' ability to think quickly, to improvise, and to support one another was turning what seemed like certain defeat into a fight for survival, and perhaps even victory. During a brief lull, Mara addressed the colony. "Listen to me." Her voice carried across loudspeakers and comm channels. "They came thinking we were weak. They came thinking we could be crushed. They were wrong. Every person here has a role. Every idea matters. Stay vigilant, stay smart, and we will survive. We are humans. We never give up." The colonists responded with a resounding cheer, their spirits lifting despite exhaustion. It was that human spirit, the courage to keep going even when the odds were overwhelming, that Mara knew would make the difference. As evening approached, the Xyrath withdrew slightly, regrouping their forces. Mara used this time to plan the next phase of defense. She knew the aliens would return, likely with more ships and stronger tactics. But she also knew that the humans had learned valuable lessons from the first clashes: patterns, weaknesses, and the strength that came from working together. Jaren approached Mara with a tablet. "Captain, the deep space communicator shows no response yet." Earth hasn't replied. Mara's face remained calm, though a spark of concern flickered in her eyes. Then we fight as if help will never come. Because even if it doesn't, we will survive. Humans survive when they must, and we are nothing if not survivors. The first signs of the night attack appeared as the stars darkened under thick clouds of alien ships. Mara gave orders calmly but decisively. Activate the outer shields. Assign flanking teams. Use the canyon traps. Every move counts. We are ready. The Xyrath's second wave struck with more force. Beams of energy sliced through the air and larger ships hovered menacingly above the settlement. But this time the humans were ready. Energy shields absorbed the worst of the initial strikes, while hidden turrets and teams in strategic positions responded with calculated counterattacks. Explosions lit the sky in bursts of red and gold. Mara moved among the teams, directing attacks, adjusting tactics, and offering encouragement. Every member of Haven knew their role, but they also knew that the humans' greatest weapon was creativity. When one plan failed, another rose in its place. Improvisation became survival. In the chaos, a small group of Xyrath drones broke through the outer defenses, advancing toward the main settlement. Mara saw them and smiled. "Follow me," she said, leading a team of engineers and fighters. They used a combination of energy nets, pulse grenades, and improvised weapons to halt the drones' advance. The aliens had expected an easy path, but instead, they were met with human ingenuity at every turn. The battle raged through the night. Fires burned, walls cracked, and dust filled the air, but the humans of Haven refused to yield. They fought not with the strength of a giant, but with the precision of a clever mind, turning the Xyrath's power against them. Hours later, as the first light of dawn touched the horizon, the Xyrath ships began to retreat. They had underestimated the humans, and now they were forced to regroup. Mara allowed herself a brief moment to breathe. Her body ached, her mind was exhausted, but her spirit was unbroken. She looked over the settlement. It was battered, yes, but it still stood. The colonists were alive, and they had survived a night that should have broken them. Mara's heart swelled with pride, but also with determination. This was only the beginning. The Xyrath would return, stronger and more relentless, and when they did, the humans would be ready. "Prepare for the next wave," Mara said to Jaren, "and keep sending that signal. Someone out there will hear it. Someone will come. And when they do, we will be ready to show the galaxy what humans are capable of." As the sun rose fully, casting golden light over the scarred desert, Mara stood on her ridge once more. She could see the distant outlines of the retreating Xyrath fleet, their arrogance shaken, and she could feel deep in her bones that the story of Haven was only beginning. Humans had survived against impossible odds before, and they would do it again. The first clash was over, but the war had just begun. And in the hearts of every human on Virelia, the fire of determination burned brighter than any star. The desert planet of Virelia had grown quiet again, but it was the calm that comes before the storm. Haven Colony's walls were scorched, the ground still smoldered from the last skirmish, and the air smelled of burned metal and dust. Captain Mara Solon stood on the ridge, watching her people move tirelessly, repairing, reinforcing, and preparing. Lieutenant Jaren approached, holding a tablet. "Captain, we've sent continuous messages to Earth. So far, no response." Mara's jaw tightened, but she did not let worry show. "Keep sending," she said. "Every burst of energy we transmit is a chance. Someone will hear. They have to." In the command center, engineers adjusted the deep space transmitter. Large antennas rotated slowly, aimed toward the distant star they called home. The humans of Haven knew the odds were long. Earth was far away, light years distant. Even messages traveling at the speed of light would take years to reach their destination. Yet they did not give up. Humanity's defining trait was hope, and they clung to it with every heartbeat. Counselor Ellen, studying the star maps, spoke softly. "Captain, our defenses can hold for a few more cycles, maybe more if we are careful. But if the Xyrath return with full force, we could be overwhelmed." Mara nodded. "Then we prepare not just for defense, but for strategy. We must make every moment count, every action meaningful. Our survival depends on it." Meanwhile, far across the galaxy orbiting Earth, the United Earth Fleet detected the faint signal from Haven. Fleet Commander Admiral Kai Renshaw studied the incoming data. At first, the signals were weak, almost impossible to decipher. But the messages repeated in a pattern, a desperate plea from a human colony under attack. "Commander," said Lieutenant Silva, pointing at the screen, It's coming from Virelia, a colony in distress. They're being attacked by, well, it looks like a fleet-level force. We're reading energy signatures far beyond what a small colony could defend against. Admiral Renshaw's expression hardened. Get me the full analysis. And prepare the fleet. If this is true, they need us now. Back on Virelia, the colonists continued their work. Mara walked through the settlement, observing teams strengthening walls, repairing shields, and moving civilians to safer areas. Engineers were rigging improvised defenses, placing decoys, and recalibrating turrets. Every action was precise, every plan clever. Humanity had survived worse, and Mara's people were determined to survive this. Suddenly, a scout drone returned from the outer perimeter, moving faster than usual. Jaren met IT and accessed its data. Captain, sensors show new Xyrath movements. They're regrouping beyond the canyon range. This looks like a preliminary strike. They're testing our response again. Mara studied the readings. Exactly what we expected. They are cautious now, but they are still arrogant. They still believe their power can crush us. Let them approach. We have a surprise ready. In the hidden canyon surrounding the colony, teams were preparing traps. Mara had ordered energy charges placed strategically, magnetic pulses rigged, and decoy paths created to lure the aliens into false corridors. The humans' advantage was their ability to adapt on the fly, to think creatively when brute force would fail. Hours passed as the Xyrath tested the outer limits of the colony. Mara's teams responded with precise, calculated actions, surprising the enemy at every turn. Ships disabled by magnetic pulses, drones trapped in canyon ambushes, and strike teams that used terrain to their advantage slowed the Xyrath's advance. But Mara knew the danger was far from over. The Xyrath had the resources to return with overwhelming force. If Earth's fleet could not reach them in time, Haven might be forced into a last-stand battle. At that moment, a communication officer called out from the transmitter room. Captain, there's a new response. A preliminary acknowledgement from Earth. It's faint, but it's there. Mara's heart raced. Patch it through. A flickering image appeared on the holo display. A human voice came through, slightly distorted but unmistakable. Haven Colony, this is Admiral Renshaw of the United Earth Fleet. We have received your messages. Reinforcements are en route. Estimated arrival, uncertain. Prepare to hold your position. Humanity will not leave you to face this alone. The room erupted in relief and cheers, but Mara quickly called for silence. This is good news, she said, but it does not guarantee safety. They will come, but until then we continue to fight. Every second matters. The humans returned to their positions, their determination renewed. Knowing that someone from Earth had heard their plea was powerful. But Mara reminded everyone that the battle was still far from over. The Xyrath could attack at any moment, and the humans of Haven had to remain vigilant. As night fell again, the Xyrath launched probing attacks. Mara and her teams responded with coordination, creativity, and courage. Small strike teams lured enemy drones into traps, while engineers fired energy pulses that disabled alien engines. Explosions lit the desert night, casting long shadows that danced over the walls and streets of the colony. Mara moved between positions, encouraging her teams. Remember, she said, they may have numbers and firepower, but we have ingenuity. Every clever move counts. Never stop thinking, never stop fighting. Humans survive because we adapt. Jaren joined her on the ridge, looking at the stars. Do you think Earth can reach us in time? He asked. Mara's eyes narrowed on the distant horizon. I don't know, she admitted. But even if they don't, we survive. We will show them what humans can do. We may be small, but we are clever, we are determined, and we never give up. Suddenly, a blinding light cut across the night sky. The Xyrath had launched a new assault wave, larger and more coordinated than before. Mara quickly assessed the situation. All units respond. Activate traps, use terrain, and stay sharp. They want to break us, but we will not break. Not now, not ever. The battle surged with energy and noise. Turrets fired, drones fell, and the ground shook under the force of alien weapons. Yet for every move the Xyrath made, the humans had a counter. Mines detonated in strategic positions, disabling several smaller ships. Energy nets captured drones, and human fighters launched ambushes from hidden paths. Hours passed like minutes. Mara coordinated each maneuver, predicting enemy movements, adjusting plans, and inspiring her people. The Xyrath were frustrated. Their arrogance was being dismantled by a species they considered weak. And yet they underestimated one thing: human creativity. In the command center, Mara sent another message to Earth. Admiral Renshaw, we continue to hold. Our defenses are strained, but morale is high. The Xyrath are clever, but we are cleverer. Reinforcements will save us, but until then we fight and survive. Back on Earth, Admiral Renshaw studied the incoming data. They are holding, and they are holding well. This is beyond expectation. Prepare the fleet. Humanity will answer this call, and when we arrive, the Xyrath will see what they cannot defeat, the will of humans. On Virelia, the first hints of dawn appeared. Mara surveyed the battlefield. Fires still burned, walls were damaged, but the colony stood. Each person had fought, improvised, and survived. Humanity's ingenuity had turned a desperate defense into a testament of skill, courage, and determination. The Xyrath retreated again, regrouping beyond the mountains. Mara watched their ships vanish into the distance. She knew this pause was temporary. They would return stronger, but the humans of Haven had proven something vital. They could withstand the storm, adapt to the enemy, and survive against overwhelming odds. Turning to Jaren, Mara said quietly, "We've done well, but the fight is far from over. Earth's fleet is on its way. Until they arrive, we continue to fight smart, use every advantage, and show the Xyrath that humans are not weak, and we are never alone." The colonists worked tirelessly through the morning. Repairs, reinforcements, and preparations continued. Children carried supplies with guidance. Adults moved swiftly between posts, and engineers recalibrated every system. Every action had a purpose. Every human contributed to the defense. Mara stood on the ridge once more, looking at the stars. Somewhere far across the galaxy, the first ships from Earth were beginning their journey, responding to the faint but persistent call of a small colony. The humans of Haven had sent a message across light years, and now hope was on its way. She whispered to herself, "Let them come. Earth will come. And when they do, we will show the universe the strength of humans, for now Haven held." Humanity had fought against impossible odds, survived, and sent a beacon across the stars. The first clash was over. The second wave had been repelled, and the call for help had been answered. The stage was set. The humans of Virelia and the might of Earth were about to meet, and the Xyrath would face something they had never imagined. The fight continued. But one truth was clear. Humans were clever, resilient, and unstoppable when united. And their story was only beginning. The pale light of Virelia's twin suns glinted off the horizon, reflecting on the jagged metal walls of Haven Colony. For days, the humans had endured relentless attacks from the Xyrath, using every trick and tactic their ingenuity could devise. They had survived, but Captain Mara Solon knew this was only the beginning. The enemy was cunning, ruthless, and prepared to destroy everything in their path. Yet for the first time in what felt like endless cycles, there was a glimmer of hope. Far beyond the dark expanse of space, deep in the orbit of Earth, the United Earth Fleet had mobilized. The distant stars seemed to tremble as countless ships, sleek and powerful, surged forward across light years. This was no ordinary response. This was humanity's might concentrated, a fleet designed to defend, to reclaim, and to inspire awe across the galaxy. Mara was on the ridge above Haven, binoculars in hand, scanning the skies. The faint glint of approaching ships appeared first as tiny points of light, growing steadily larger with each passing moment. Her heart raced, not with fear but with determination. "Get the teams ready," she commanded. "Earth is coming. The Xyrath will learn today that humans are never alone." The colony hummed with energy. Every turret was recharged, every shield recalibrated, and every soldier and engineer positioned for maximum efficiency. The humans had survived previous waves, but this time they were not just fighting for survival. They were preparing for a counterstrike with allies who carried the strength of an entire planet. On the outskirts of the colony, scouts reported movement. Xyrath drones were approaching, likely to intercept the incoming fleet before it could enter the system. Mara's lips curved into a determined smile. "Let them come," she said. "They think they can stop us. They will see human ingenuity and courage at its finest." The first Xyrath wave surged forward, attempting to engage the colony directly before Earth's fleet could arrive. Their energy beams lit the sky with streaks of destructive light. Yet the humans of Haven, guided by Mara and Lieutenant Jaren, responded with precision. Mines detonated along predicted paths, energy pulses disrupted engines, and turrets fired with pinpoint accuracy. Even the smallest teams executed clever ambushes that destroyed enemy drones and small strike vessels. And then, it happened. The horizon shifted as enormous silhouettes appeared, moving with grace and precision across space. The Earth Armada had arrived. Hundreds of ships, from massive capital vessels to nimble fighters, cut through the darkness of space. Lights glimmered along their hulls, reflecting the brilliance of human engineering. The Zirath halted, their arrogance shaken. They had expected no reinforcements, no backup. They had underestimated humans once, but now they faced an entirely new reality. The fleet was vast, coordinated, and manned by humans who had trained for moments just like this. Mara watched through her binoculars, her eyes wide with awe and resolve. "Focus," she told herself. "This is what we've been waiting for. We fight alongside them and we show the Zirath the true power of humanity." Admiral Kai Renshaw aboard the flagship USS Resolute coordinated the fleet with precision. "All units maintain formation. Protect the colony. Neutralize the Zirath threat but minimize risk to civilians. Remember, the humans of Haven have held this position with ingenuity. Use their knowledge. Support them." The Zirath realized their gamble had failed. They had hoped to destroy Haven before reinforcements could arrive. But now they faced the combined strength of Earth and the colony itself. Ships that had once been confident in their superiority now faltered, unsure how to counter the unexpected coordination and creativity of humans. On the battlefield, Mara directed teams to integrate with the Earth fighters. Pilots and soldiers shared positions and strategies, coordinating attacks that combined local knowledge with advanced fleet technology. The first engagement began in earnest. Energy beams cut through space, missiles streaked past ships, and explosions lit the darkness. The humans of Haven, small in number but clever, guided the larger Earth fleet into advantageous positions. One group of Zirath ships attempted a flanking maneuver, hoping to strike the colony from behind. Mara anticipated it. "Deploy canyon traps remotely," she ordered. Engineers triggered previously placed energy charges, and magnetic pulse emitters disabled enemy engines at critical points. Ships went tumbling, caught off guard by human foresight and ingenuity. Meanwhile, Earth's fighters swooped in from above, their speed and maneuverability complementing the colony's efforts. Pilots communicated seamlessly with Mara's teams, coordinating strikes that destroyed enemy drones and disabled larger vessels. The Zirath, though technologically superior in many ways, could not match the combination of human adaptability, intelligence, and teamwork. The battle raged across the skies and deserts of Varelia. Mara moved among the teams, offering guidance and encouragement. "Remember," she shouted over the comms, "numbers do not win wars. Creativity, courage, and unity win wars.
Use every advantage and never give up."
Explosions rocked the mountains and plains, but the humans of Haven and the Earth fleet pressed forward. A Zirath capital ship tried to retreat, only to find a coordinated blockade formed by Earth's largest vessels, with humans guiding fire from hidden positions. Energy beams struck the alien ship, forcing it to break formation and flee. Jaren looked at Mara, awe on his face. "Captain, we are actually doing it. We are turning the tide." Mara smiled, though fatigue weighed on her. "We are humans," she said simply. "We adapt, we endure. We fight with heart, mind, and courage. That is why we survive." On the ground, the colonists of Haven watched as the vast armada unfolded across the sky. Children clung to their parents. Adults fought alongside Earth soldiers, and every human felt a surge of pride. They were small, but they were clever. They were alone before, but now they had the might of an entire world behind them. The Zirath, realizing their losses were mounting and their strategies failing, began to retreat. Their confidence had turned into fear. Every plan they had relied on, every expectation of weakness, had been shattered by human ingenuity and resolve. Admiral Renshaw's voice echoed across comm channels. "Zirath, retreat. Colony secure for now. Humans of Haven, you have held the line longer than we dared hope. Earth's fleet is here, and together, we will ensure your safety." Mara felt a wave of relief, though she knew the war was far from over. This victory was critical, but it was only the beginning of showing the galaxy what humans were capable of. The battlefield was scarred, but Haven still stood. Turrets were still operational, shields repaired, and the humans, though exhausted, were alive. Mara walked among them, offering quiet words of encouragement. "We've held the line," she said. "And now with our allies we can push back. The Xyrath will learn the power of human determination and unity. We are not weak, we are not alone, and we will never be underestimated." As the suns rose fully over Virelia, casting gold and orange light over the desert, Mara looked toward the stars. The Earth Armada had arrived, and with it, hope, strength, and a clear message to all who underestimated humanity. Humans were clever, adaptable, and unstoppable when united. She turned to Jaren, her voice calm but strong. "This is only the beginning. We've shown them that humans can survive and fight. Next we show them that humans can win, and together we will." In the distance, the last of the retreating Xyrath ships disappeared into space. Mara watched them go, knowing that the universe had changed in that moment. The humans of Haven had endured. Earth's fleet had arrived, and together, they had demonstrated the true might of humanity. Every person in the colony and every member of the fleet felt the same truth. The story of humans was just beginning, and no empire, no matter how advanced, could ever fully measure the strength of human ingenuity, courage, and spirit. The battle had turned. The Xyrath would think twice before ever underestimating humanity again. And for the first time in cycles, Mara allowed herself a small moment of hope. Earth's mightiest armada had arrived, and the tide of battle had shifted. Humanity had not only survived, they had begun to triumph. The skies over Virelia were alive with motion. The twin suns cast long shadows over Haven Colony, illuminating the battered walls, repaired turrets, and the determined faces of the humans within. For days the Xyrath had tested them, striking again and again with overwhelming force. But now, with the arrival of Earth's fleet, the humans were no longer alone. The tide of battle had shifted, and Captain Marasolan knew that this was the moment to strike. "Listen up," Mara's voice echoed through the command center. "We've held the line, and now it's time to show the Xyrath that humans don't just survive, they win. Every person here has a role. Every move counts. Stay sharp, stay clever, and never forget what we're fighting for: our home, our families, our people, and the future of humanity." Lieutenant Jaren handed her the latest reports. "The Xyrath are regrouping in orbit. They're trying to form a concentrated strike on the colony, but our fleet and traps have disrupted their formations. They're weaker than before, but dangerous." Mara nodded. "Good. That is all the advantage we need. Prepare the ambush zones, coordinate with Earth fighters, and position our teams in the canyons. When they attack, they will face a force they cannot anticipate." On the ridges surrounding the colony, teams moved into position. Energy nets were primed, pulse emitters hidden behind rocks, and mines carefully placed in paths the Xyrath were likely to take. Mara's people had grown cleverer with each encounter. Every skirmish had taught them something about their enemy, and every lesson was now a weapon. From the edge of the settlement, scouts reported the approaching fleet of Xyrath ships. This time it was larger than ever, a concentrated assault intended to crush Haven once and for all. Mara's eyes narrowed. "They think numbers will win. Let's show them human ingenuity and courage are stronger than raw power." In orbit above Virelia, Admiral Kai Renshaw coordinated the Earth fleet. "All units follow Haven's guidance. Their knowledge of the terrain and enemy tactics is invaluable. Strike with precision, protect the colony, and support their teams on the ground. Humanity fights as one, and we will show the Xyrath what that means." The first wave of Xyrath ships descended, confident and ready to destroy. Energy beams lit the skies, striking turrets, shields, and barricades. But this time the humans were not merely defending, they were attacking as well. Mara's teams activated traps, detonating mines in the paths of advancing ships. Magnetic pulses disabled engines, sending drones tumbling into the desert. Earth's fighters swooped in with precision, striking where the Xyrath least expected. Explosions lit the skies like fireworks, but the humans did not falter. Every attack was met with a counter. Every move was clever and precise. The Xyrath, though powerful, found themselves outmatched not in strength but in adaptability. They could not predict human improvisation, human teamwork, or human courage. Mara moved through the command center, guiding teams, adjusting strategies, and communicating constantly with Earth's fleet. "Flank from the North Canyon," she ordered. "Push the smaller ships into traps. Focus fire on the capital vessels once they are isolated. Keep civilians safe. Humans survive by thinking, not by fear. As the battle raged, one of the Xyrath capital ships attempted to retreat, hoping to regroup. Mara's voice carried across comm channels. Do not let them escape. Use the energy nets and pulse traps to disable them. Precision counts. Moments later, the massive ship shuddered as energy nets wrapped around it and pulse emitters disrupted its engines. It crashed into a canyon, sending tremors across the desert. Cheers erupted among the human fighters, but Mara did not allow celebration yet. Stay focused, she reminded them. The fight is not over until the last ship leaves our skies. On the ground, human teams worked alongside Earth soldiers, clearing drones and small strike vessels. Improvised weapons, clever tactics, and careful coordination turned what should have been a slaughter into a brilliant display of strategy. The humans of Haven, tiny compared to the Xyrath, had become a force the aliens could not fully comprehend. Hours passed, and the Xyrath realized their defeat was imminent. Ships began to break formation, some attempting escape, others trying to regroup for a final strike. But the humans were relentless. Mara and Jaren coordinated attacks from ground and air, guiding Earth's fighters to intercept fleeing ships. Every move was calculated, every strike precise. The Xyrath were overwhelmed, not just by force but by human cleverness and unity. Admiral Renshaw's voice boomed over comm channels. All units maintain formation. Focus on containment, not destruction. Let them learn the lesson that humans fight together, and no force can underestimate our resolve. Finally, the last of the Xyrath ships attempted to flee. Mara activated the final sequence of canyon traps, magnetic pulses, and energy nets. One by one, ships were disabled or forced into retreat. The skies over Viralia fell quiet, the destructive hum of weapons fading into distant echoes. Mara stood on the ridge above the colony, breathing deeply. The battle was over. Haven was safe for now. The humans had survived, and more importantly, they had triumphed. The Xyrath had been defeated, not through sheer strength but through courage, ingenuity, and unity. Around her, the people of Haven began to emerge from bunkers, repair stations, and hidden shelters. Children ran to their parents, adults hugged friends, and cheers filled the air. Humanity had endured what seemed impossible, and now they celebrated survival and victory. Jaren joined Mara, his eyes shining with pride. We did it, he said quietly. Mara smiled. Yes, but it wasn't just us. Earth's fleet arrived. They fought with us, and together we showed the universe what humans are capable of. In orbit, Earth's fleet began to reposition, ensuring the colony's long-term safety and preparing for any possible counterattack. The Xyrath, now retreating into the void of space, would carry the message of human ingenuity, courage, and determination across the stars. No longer would humanity be underestimated. Mara walked through the settlement, offering quiet words to each team. Engineers, pilots, and soldiers had performed brilliantly. Civilians had played their part with courage and ingenuity. Every human had contributed to the victory. This was not just a battle. It was a testament to what humans could achieve when united by purpose and determination. Counselor Ellen approached Mara. Captain, the Xyrath will think twice before attacking any human settlement again. They have learned that numbers alone do not win wars. Mara nodded. Yes, and the galaxy will remember this. Humanity is clever, adaptable, and strong. We fight not just for survival, but for hope, for life, and for the future. Today we showed that humans cannot be underestimated. As the twin suns set once more, casting golden light over Haven, Mara allowed herself a moment of quiet reflection. The battle had been hard, exhausting, and terrifying, but the humans of Haven, aided by Earth's fleet, had proven that courage, cleverness, and unity could overcome even the most formidable foe. She turned to look at the horizon, where the distant stars beckoned. Somewhere out there, other colonies, other civilizations, and even distant enemies watched. And they would all learn the same lesson. Humanity was a force to be reckoned with, not because of sheer strength, but because humans never gave up, never stopped thinking, and never fought alone. Mara placed a hand on Jaren's shoulder. This is just the beginning, she said. There will be more challenges, more battles, but we have shown the galaxy that humans are special. And together we will face whatever comes next. The people of Haven cheered once more. Fires burned in celebration. Lights glimmered across the settlement, and a sense of pride filled the air. The humans had survived, fought brilliantly, and proven their worth. The Xyrath had been defeated, Earth's fleet had arrived and hope had triumphed. As night fell over Veralia, Mara looked to the stars, imagining the countless worlds that would now take notice. The humans of Earth and Haven had sent a clear message. They would never be underestimated. And when united, humanity's spirit was unstoppable. For the first time in many cycles, Haven was at peace. The colony had endured, the fleet had protected them, and the Zyrath had been forced to retreat. Humanity had triumphed, not just through weapons, but through ingenuity, courage, and heart. Mara smiled, feeling the weight of leadership lift slightly. We fought. We survived. We triumphed. And the universe will remember that humans are clever, resilient, and unstoppable when united. The battle was over, but the story of humanity had only just begun. And in that moment, every human on Veralia, every soldier in Earth's fleet, and every child dreaming under the twin suns knew one truth. Humans were special, and the galaxy would never forget it.